Hey guys, it's Melissa here with Rooted Home and Garden. Have you grown basil in your garden yet? If you haven't, I recommend going to the store right now. There's plenty of time still to plant basil plants. Go buy some, get it planted, because today I'm going to show you what I do with basil now so that in the wintertime I can still enjoy fresh basil. Now in my family, we eat a lot of basil, especially in the wintertime. There's something about those hearty meals that we just want to consume. It makes us feel all good inside, right? Well, basil is a #1 ingredient for us. We love it. So therefore, I need to preserve it. That way I'm not having to buy the store-bought stuff. That stuff's not good at all. Fresh basil? Yes. And here's the thing. It costs probably the same amount of money to buy an entire basil plant than it does to actually buy the little sprigs at the store. And I don't use chemicals in my yard. You don't know what they use in theirs. So I definitely highly recommend getting your own basil plant. When you do, you can actually preserve this just like I do. Now, there's different ways to preserve it, but the #1 thing is you want to make sure you prevent botulism. Botulism is a bacteria that grows in stored foods, sometimes if it's not stored correctly. So I'm going to show you the correct way I store basil to prevent botulism. But just so you know, I'm not an expert at anything. I am just a mom. I've been a mom for 20 years now, and this is just how I've been doing it all these years. So you do need a few items to actually start this project. You're gonna need extra olive oil. You're gonna wanna use the good stuff. Don't skimp on this because flavor is everything. #2, you're gonna need basil leaves, hopefully homegrown. If not, you can still use it from the store. But like I said, homegrown is the best. The smell is amazing. I'm going to smell great today, just so you know, because I'm going to be working with the basil all day. And actually, it's not going to take all day. It actually is a very quick way to actually do it. You're going to need clippers to clip it. I already, as you can see, have clipped my basil, so I brought it in. You're going to need a cutting board and a knife. You can use a blender. In the past, like last year, I used a blender to do this. This year, I don't feel like it, so I'm just going to use a knife and cut it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Really, any way to get it cut, just into smaller pieces. You need some sort of pan. A lot of times in the past, I've used like those ice trays. That works really well, like really well, actually. Probably that's the best way to use it. Other times I've just used a tray. I have no idea what I'm going to use today. I haven't decided yet. So I need to figure that out. But I think that's all you need. And just some space in your freezer. Oh, and a freezer bag as well. I'm going to be honest with you. Some people highly recommend washing it. I don't use chemicals in my yard, so I don't see the point in washing it if you don't have to. I really just look at it. If it's good, I use it. If it's not, then not. Because here's the thing. If you do wash it, the #1 thing is you need to make sure you dry it well. That's definitely #1. If there's any moisture in it, then that's how you can get botulism. So it's okay to totally wash it, especially if you use chemicals, 100% wash it, but just leave it out to dry by air for a few hours just to make sure there's no moisture in it. And if you see it's a little dusty, just blow on it. That's all I do. I don't know. Right or wrong, that's just how I do it. And my family has been safe, so I think you're going to be fine too. Now, some people actually recommend blanching it, and that's totally fine. The purpose of blanching is just to keep its color. And I'll tell you, I've blanched a couple of times, and it does remain completely green. When you don't blanch it, then it kind of dims in the color, makes it dull looking. I cook all of the basil, so it's not necessary for me. Some people prefer it to be really green, especially when you're making pesto. So you want to make sure that you blanch it first, which is putting it in boiling hot water for about 30 seconds or so, maybe up to a minute, taking it out and immediately putting it in ice water. I'm not doing that today. Maybe in a couple of weeks I will do that, but I'm not worried about it so much today. This is mostly for spaghetti sauce or marinara sauce, so I'm not really concerned about blanching it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our leaves and we're just gonna rip them off the stems. You don't wanna keep the stems. We're just going to kind of rip them off here just to save them. I'm telling you guys, this is such a quick thing to do, and it may seem like another thing to do. And I remember, especially when my kids were little, there were seasons in my life, even probably nowadays, there's seasons in my life where it seems like so much work just to do this. But push through it, guys. I really encourage you to push through it, regardless of what season in life you're in, and you're just like, I just don't know if I have it in me. Because when you pull it out of your freezer to use it in the middle of winter, you don't have a plant anymore when it's gone over the winter time. You're going to be so proud of yourself. That really goes a long way, guys. It really does. So it doesn't take long. I promise. We're just, like I said, look at, all I'm doing is just picking the leaves off, I'm not really fussing about anything. You can put some of your favorite music on when you do this. I love to put on some music that I love and listen to it while I'm in the kitchen. Put on a podcast. I love watching those crime shows on YouTube. That's when I'm doing stuff, whether it's like doing my hair or my makeup or cleaning the kitchen. That's what I put on. I love watching those crime shows. I find them so entertaining. Yeah, it might take me longer to get the work done that I need to get done, but hey, I'm having fun. Nobody's in here in the house complaining that it's taking me longer. So make fun of doing the chores. You guys remember the old movie Mary Poppins, where you just make fun, snap your hands and the job's the game. I take that to heart, especially being a stay-at-home mom and homeschooling my kid. Well, partial homeschool is what I do, but homeschooling my kids, keeping the housework done, is you have to learn to make it a game. Otherwise, you'll kind of go nuts. So look at it as a game. This is fun. So enjoy yourself when you're doing your projects. That's a little side note to a seasoned mama over here. All right, so I've almost got all the leaves. I'm not going to save any of the blossoms. I'm sure you can, but I never do. So I have no idea if they even taste good. I doubt. From my understanding, I think they're bitter. But I've never attempted to even give advice on that. All right, so I've got my basil here. Now it's time to cut them up. Now, sometimes I use a blender when I do this. Today, I just don't feel like getting out the blender and washing everything by hand because my blender stuff pieces all have to be washed by hand. And I don't feel like doing that today. So I'm just gonna take a knife. Whoops, a little bit of a stem. I just wanna get that out. And I'm just gonna chop it up. Very easy. You don't have to worry about it being the same size. You don't have to worry about it, being too big or too small. You could even just use your fingers. You don't even have to use a knife to do this. And a mixing bowl. Ouch. I have a hurt elbow, so it really hurts when I use it. But a mixing bowl, I'm going to use my little antique mixing bowl here. So I'm going to push this cutting board out of the way so I can put my bowl here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our basil and we're going to put it in the bowl. We are going to drench it with olive oil. My extra olive oil is actually in this container right here. Isn't this so cute? I love this. I got this off of Etsy. Really like it. Anyway, we're going to drench it with olive oil. Now, you don't want to make it soupy, but we want to definitely, now we're going to have to get your hands dirty. We want to make it so it's completely coated. So you don't have to worry about it being soupy, but you don't want it to be dry. So I think I want it a little wetter than this. We're just going to keep doing this, keep rubbing it around. You want it all the way coated to protect it. Kind of how I judge it is by if it stays in a ball or not. It's starting to form. Maybe I need a little bit more. Okay, see how it's starting to form a ball? That's kind of what we're wanting. We're wanting it to be kind of formed like a ball. So it's nice and protected. I'm just going to do a tad bit more. And this is why it is important to pick out an extra virgin olive oil that actually is really good quality, because you're going to really taste it in your items that you're cooking. So you want to make sure that it's a good quality. Now, you don't have to go and buy the most expensive kind, just one that you know that tastes well in your cooking. All right, that seems pretty good to me. I really like that. This is why I tell you what products that you need before you get started, because I listed them all to you. Did I get any of my stuff out ahead of time? No. So now I'm going to have to walk around with this or waste it because I didn't get my stuff out. It's a little slow on the ball today. We went to a baseball game yesterday. We went to they're no longer the Oakland A's. I don't remember. I don't even know what they've changed to. Anyway, they're in Sacramento now. And so we went to a baseball game with my two little boys. And we were there pretty late. We didn't get home until midnight last night. So or early this morning. So I'm pretty slow this morning, but it was a lot of fun. And they won. So that was fun. The kids got to see a lot of home runs, which, little boys absolutely love that. And they brought their gloves in case they got to catch a fly ball. And unfortunately they didn't, but they were such good sports about it. This was their first is it a major league? Yeah, this was their first major league game. I'm not a baseball person, so I don't know all the correct terms. My husband was trying to explain it to me yesterday about like 1A, 2A, 3As. I don't know. My boys play baseball. I go to be supportive and watch them play baseball. I don't know all the ins and outs. So I didn't grow up with brothers, so. All right, so I've got my seasoned pans, and anyone who tries to tell you a cleaner pan than this works better, no. Every single experienced adult understands that the best food comes from pans like this. So this is not dirty. This is called seasoned, and it works amazingly, and it cooks fantastically. So no commenting on the pan unless it's positive commenting, because this thing, I will fight for that. So that's for sure. All right, got our basil, we've got our olive oil, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna kind of figure out how much you use in each dish. Okay, I don't use very much in each dish. I probably use maybe half a cup in each dish. So what I'm gonna do is, and that's maybe overestimating, maybe about a third of a cup is what I end up using per dish that I use. Because basil is so powerful and strong, you really don't need very much. So what you're gonna do is take how much you think you need for an item, and you're going to put it in a little ball, a little smaller than that. Okay, we're gonna put it into a little ball, and we're gonna put it on our tray in that nice little ball, just like that. I would bring the camera closer, but I'm kind of covered in oil, and I don't wanna get oil all over my camera. So I'll bring it closer after I've washed my hands. And you're just gonna keep doing that over and over again until you have multiple balls. And that's pretty much it for step one. Like I said, this takes minutes. It really doesn't take long at all, unless you're watching your crime shows and stopping and just, gasping at what happened next. And so I'm gonna just keep going over and over like this. See some that probably needs a little bit more oil. And this is all based by feel. You really just aren't gonna really, I'm sure there are actual recipes out there. I don't do recipes when it comes to this. I just kind of do it based on how it feels, how it looks, how much I think I'm gonna need. Just put it together like this. And the benefit of preserving, like I said, so this is mid-June right now. The benefit of preserving the basil leaves in mid-June is that in a couple of weeks, the plant is just going to continue to grow. And I'll be able to do this again without getting rid of the plant entirely. You know what I mean? So I think that's such a benefit. I know that last year, toward the end of the season, I kind of just said, this is the last of it. And I pulled the plant and I did it for one last hurrah at the end. And that's great to do that at the end. But you want to be able to just keep picking and picking and picking. And when you just cut them like a haircut, like I did, you're going to just continue your harvest. And like I said, it doesn't take long to do this. And already, it's like, as you can see, I'll bring you closer in just a minute. But I have 6 little spots. Maybe it should only be 5 because I think I have 2 that are pretty small. Maybe I'll just put it together. There we go. So I have 5 basil clumps that I'll be able to use for 5 different meals right at this moment. I mean, and how long did that take me? 3 minutes? Really? It didn't take too long, and I had to stop and answer the door. So, all right, let me go wash my hands. Oh, and you smell so good. It smells so good. My husband's going to walk into the house, and he's going to be like, oh, what's that great smell? And I'm going to say, it's me. And voila. Look at, that's how it looks. Doesn't that look great? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them into the freezer and let them freeze completely. You want them completely solid. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get completely solid, and then once I am done, I'm gonna be pulling them out. You can put them in a freezer bag. You can vacuum seal it. I have a vacuum sealer, so I like to use the vacuum sealer for this. And then just mark the date that you did it, and you're done. And then when you're ready to use them in the wintertime, save them for the wintertime because you have fresh basil outside. So save them for the wintertime, and when your plants are gone, you can pull them out one by one and use it. I'm telling you, you will feel so proud of yourself that you did this. And a little side note over here, look at this. My black hopper Morans have started to lay. I am so happy. So one of my girls lays a solid dark egg, which I think is so beautiful. And the other one lays speckled eggs. So I have multiple speckled, multiple regular, and of course my Orpingtons have this tan color, which it just makes the basket look so pretty. So they just started laying this week, so that's been so much fun. We'd love to get a blue egg in there. That's what I really need to, or a chicken that lays blue eggs. I've been wanting Americanas. is what they say. So there's a couple of chickens that lay blue eggs, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, but the one I'm really wanting to have is the Americana. It'll probably be next year. Oh well. Problem when you live in the city is, you have to kind of plan these out, because my Orpingtons are 3 years old already. So that means that their egg production is declining already. And I can only have 6 chickens in the city. My Morans just started laying, so I have 3 good years before they stop laying. I would love to get an Australorp because they lay the tan eggs as well, but they lay a ton of eggs, and they're like one of the sweetest chickens you can possibly have. So I'd love to get an Australorp, and I really want an Americana. But that's a whole separate little video that I don't know why I'm bringing that up. So I'm going to put these in the freezer, and then hopefully in a couple of hours, I'll show you what it looks like when I pull it out. Now, I don't think I mentioned why it's important to freeze it versus other things. Number one, you don't want to leave it out on the counter. That's how you grow botulism. So it definitely cannot be done. In the fridge, it's fine, but it only lasts up to about 3 months. Even though that's great, but what you're really wanting is for it to be in the freezer. In the freezer, it'll last for a year. So anyway, the point across that is you want to make sure you put it in the freezer, because that is the best way to preserve it. So I just pulled the basil out of the freezer and everything looks really good. And so all I have to do now is bag it up. You can put it in a Ziploc baggie, or like I said, or a vacuum sealer bag, and put it in your freezer. Don't forget to date when you did it. And like I said, this method will actually last for a year. Seriously, a year. That's awesome. But I mean, perfect for a meal. And I have a family of 7, and this size will totally feed my family of 7, because there's enough flavor in these fresh leaves. Just got a freezer bag right now, and I'm just gonna pick these up, and I'm putting these clumps in here in my bag. So the next time I have a meal that I need to use for in the wintertime, and it's perfect. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me today, and see you next time. Bye.